Hi everybody.
Hi everybody, indeed.
Hi,
Hello
Dr.
and
Nick.
welcome to our television review of Scam 1992, the Harshad Mehta story.
Yeah.
And we're on to episode 9 now, John.
Yes.
This is our last night of doing these reviews
Wow,
on
Stephen,
this.
I have not changed the camera. And I tell you, we look like Yul Brynner from the Ten Commandments.
John,
It's
I'm happy
not
with
an
that.
accurate portrayal
No,
of how we
it's
look.
not.
I'm a lot lighter than
But
that, guys.
I will take that in December in Scotland.
So much so, Stephen, that I'm actually going to get up whilst you're introducing the video, and I'm going to sort that out.
John,
in just
I
2
will
seconds.
read this little short synopsis like I always do when we're doing this television review of episode 9. It's called Crore Suitcase, and the government tries to negotiate with Harshad Mehta and his lawyer, but eventually it didn't work. And one day Harshad, along with his lawyer Mr. Ram Jethmalani, conducted a press conference in which publicity tells everyone
That's
that
better.
them PM Mr. P.V. Narasimharayo, I hope I've said that right, had been given a briefcase of arrest. That is 1 crore. Now, John,
1 crore.
you, up to the point of watching this episode, before you watched episode 10, which
Yes.
we will talk about later on this evening, said this was probably your favourite episode
Yes.
up to this point.
It still is.
Yeah, that kind of gives a
Fine,
game away
fine.
what you think of it. The last episode, but I'm going to hand it over to you now, John, and you can take us through this review experience. I'm actually
Yes.
quite sad because I've really enjoyed this series. Kind of confirms that we were questioning the whole titling of this being called Season 1.
Yeah.
And it really shouldn't be called that. It should be called One Season.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll pass it over to you now anyway.
Yeah, Stephen, look, I'm the same as you. I'm going to miss watching this because it's been a really enjoyable experience watching the journey of this guy's meteoric rise, also the unveiling, or the uncovering of his scams, the scams of the system in general, all of that nonsense with the CBI, everyone trying to bring him down, Shata, the press, and all the strain on him. So I'm going to miss watching it because
Yeah.
it's been a really brilliant watch over the course of the last, how long has it we've been watching this now? 6 weeks?
This is our 5th week, yeah?
5th week.
Yeah.
So it's going to be missed. But look, I'll get right into it. As you says, I'll guide us through the sort of point by points that I've kindly
Yeah.
wrote down here to try and rejig my memory because we are quite forgetful at times. I'm very good at memory sometimes, other times a little bit shit. But look, I digress. Introduction. I love the intro of this episode, Stephen. Harshad, in a sense, I've said he was whistleblowing, but he wasn't whistleblowing on the Prime Minister. He was recording a backup, sort of his insurance policy video,
Yeah.
in case they try to kill him or something, and he had something as an insurance policy to release to the world. And he says a great line later on. I'm pretty it's point 7. We'll speak about this. What he'll do, what the country would do if they try to do something to him. So it was really cool, that introduction. It was a sort of 90s aesthetic. We've seen many interviews in this TV show, him outside the BSE and lots of other avenues being interviewed, and it's the authentic grain and the 90s sort of camcorder look.
Yeah.
Loved it. I loved his confidence, the way he's just absolutely destroying the Prime Minister. His advisor, the CBI, how they're going after him, they're making his life a misery. He's in a sense looking for some sympathetic eyes.
Yeah.
What did you make about the introduction? Did you enjoy that 90s aesthetic? Did you enjoy the fact that this guy, once again, thinking 3 steps ahead of everyone else, he's getting his insurance policy?
Well, John, talking about insurance, that's what the video was for. It was to
Yeah.
ensure that if anything did happen to him, there would be something recorded down. One of the things I did notice, and we're talking about the aesthetics here, I felt his physical transformation in the video. This is a point in the episode that's later on in the episode, at this point in time in the timeline. I felt he looked quite gaunt and tired looking, very weary.
A lot gaunter than the real Harshad.
Yeah, definitely.
He was a heavy man.
It was a good introduction, John, and it kind of made me think, what's his state of mind as well?
Yeah.
That he's having to do this, you know?
Yeah. Guy's had so many raids on his house. He's had people, everyone around him, contacts, loved ones in Ashwin's case, being interrogated by this CBI, a sort of organisation that has no holds barred, it's slapping people, it's utilising violence. So it's understandable that he was maybe fearing for his life and looking for that insurance policy to let everyone know, look, these aren't goody two shoes. These guys will do everything necessary to try and get maybe a lead in the case. And obviously Mad Haven was the man who was sort of instigating it. Guy I kind of hated and liked in equal measures. And my light from went up
Yeah.
dramatically in the next point I'm speaking about, when Bushan Bat, the little bald partner,
Yeah.
essentially an office gopher.
He's the office clerk.
He's the office clerk, yeah, he says that later on. That was a great bit, incidentally, even though he is a shithead. And I knew he was a shithead. Stephen, I says it, when we watched a couple of episodes back, when the raids started coming, he went to Ashwin and signed off all the assets, all the stocks. And he says, "Oh, do you not want to check them?" And Ashwin says, no, I've not got time. You've checked it. That's okay. I trust you. I says then, that guy is a wrong'un. He's going to backstab them. And the little shithead backstabbed him. I hate his guts. And that is why I love this scene. When he gets interrogated by Mad Haven, I've said he gets a pishy towel flung in his face.
He does.
They pish on the towel and they flung it in his face. I loved it. They're trying to get some information about Harshad's methods, his scams, out of this guy. They see him as a right-hand man. He subsequently lets slip that the PM is in the back pocket of Harshad, yeah. And that knocks Mad Haven. It's the first time we see this guy kind of shook, because he's been very cool, calm, collected, in control, walking into the RBI or the SBI. Or is it not? It's the SBI. Is it the RBI or the SBI? I'm losing the plot. I think it's the State Bank of India, the SBI. He walks in, he absolutely dominates everyone. This is the first time he gets kind of taken aback. He realises, wow, this connection, this scam goes all the way to the top, to the very sort of heart of Delhi, where the power seems to lie in India. What did you make about Bushan Bat as a character in general? Did you think he deserved to get the pishy towel flung in his face? Did you think he deserved... Because they were destroying this guy.
John,
and what did you make about Mad Haven being shook?
I think Bushan Bat, you had your suspicions. I think if you've got your suspicions about on John, then you're thinking, I don't actually mind that towel being flung in his face, etc. I don't, because he deserves it. But if you're getting in kind of with your eyes closed with him, you're thinking he's not really done anything dreadful that we know of at this point. He's the office gopher. He's weak. He'll break, and it was proven that's what happened.
Yeah. I see this, Stephen. Look, the guy he's got some, how shall I put it? He's right to perhaps done what he done, because they did the shat on him.
Yeah.
They treated him like shit. He was promised the world and they gave him nothing. So even though I don't like the way he done it, the way he stabbed him in the back, that's for episode 10 incidentally, so we'll not get too far in it.
Was showing Harshad the ropes in episode 1. He was showing him how to work the stocks. The
stock exchange,
But moving on to Mad Haven, I said this last week, John. I know that you kind of had a few issues with him. You were suspicious of him. I liked him, but there was one thing I liked about him. I didn't like his methods. I've got to make that clear. I don't like the guy's methods, but his integrity and getting the job done, you can't fault him for. He just wants to truth seek. Very much like Suitcase, but in different ways. He's doing a job to get to the bottom of this investigation, and he'll do any means necessary. Didn't agree with all his methods, but there was something about him I liked. I don't know what it was. He was one of the most honest people in the whole
his moral compass is true.
Yeah.
He's the only guy who has a real, but apart from Suitcase perhaps, who has a true moral compass, looking to get to the heart of this scam. It's not personal about Harshad. He's just using him. He thinks he's the main guy involved in the scamming at first. When it becomes clear that it goes higher into the political hierarchy, he's not scared to go after them as well. And it's really the CBI chief guy, I don't know what his name is, this little weak shithead, who's speaking with that advisor to the Prime Minister, spiritualist guy, and they essentially collude to bring Harshad down, fling him under the bus. He tells him, look, don't pursue us.
I think he's just called the CBI director. I don't think he's got... In fact, hold on a second.
CBI director. They essentially tell... The Prime Minister's guru, the advisor guy, tells him, pin it on Harshad. Yeah. There can only be one name, Harshad Mehta.
He's only got... his title as CBI director. It's played by Lalit Parimo.
Yeah.
But he's not got a name or anything like John.
He doesn't deserve a name. He's a shithead.
No, but he's a parrot. I think that's what your man says.
A parrot often repeats what its master says.
Yeah. And he was on him. That shows you how good the guy is, because he knew this wasn't your words, this is not your orders, this is not your directives, this is coming from higher above. I know it is, I can sense it, and
he's flinging them off the case.
You've got to admire him for stepping away. You've just got to admire the guy's integrity, as you said, his moral compass as well, John. He knew there was a rat, there was something not right about this investigation. He knew there was more to this. and he didn't want part of that because he said in that speech as well, his sort of parting shot was, you're the one, to the CBI director, you're the one that's going to have to address the public on this. So basically I'm out of this.
Absolutely.
But that's Rajat Kapoor, who played Mad Haven. I thought
very
he was
good.
Fantastic.
He has a familiar face, doesn't he?
He does, John. For the limited time he was in this series, he's a standout character.
Two episodes and such a presence that he's probably one of the most standout side characters in the entire series. So hats off to that guy, hats off to the character. You're right, he has a moral compass, in a sense a Jim Gordon from the Dark Knight trilogy of Scam 1992, a guy with a true moral compass. He's not, obviously, he's not a good guy,
but he's not corruptible.
No, he's not corruptible. The guy wants to, but he's the best sort of CBI investigating officer. He wants to bring anyone responsible for this financial scam down, and it doesn't matter if it goes to Delhi or if it's some no-name sort of whipper-snapper from Bombay or wherever Harshad was from. I'm pretty sure it was Bombay because he goes to the Bombay Stock Exchange, so chances are it was Bombay, but look, I may be corrected. He may come from a little village outside of Bombay or something, but look, point is, he'll go after anybody, so I admired that. And you're right, he stepped away, and it surprised me that was his story ending there. I thought he would have had maybe some influence in doing extracurricular, if that's curricular, I can't even say it, extracurricular investigating of Harshad, of the Prime Minister. I thought he'd have went rogue, and I says that in my notes. Walsh, Chahta and Mad Haven actually come to Harshad's saviour here. That's what I was thinking. That was my mindset at that point in the episode. Turns out, not so much. No. It's everyone out for themselves. They're just trying to unearth what the hell's going on. Screw Harshad, screw the Prime Minister. It's all about the scam being unearthed, if you like. Mad Haven disappears off into the sunset, which is sad. And as you did say, he calls him a parrot and whatnot. And this guy takes over the investigation. And right from the start, the kick-off, you realise this guy's not got the influence, the presence, the sort of intimidation factor that Mad Haven's got. He tries to interrogate Harshad at one point, and he doesn't really take him serious. He says, I can't remember what happened. He'd come back to us and let us know when you remember. It's like, what? You're a wimp. An absolute shithead. And obviously, man, you see him at Ashwin at some point as well. He's trying to seek help from Suitcase. I think he throws a brick through a window or something like that. Strange way to try and gain somebody's help. She's not having it.
Attention.
Yeah, that's a good way of getting attention. Obviously, Harshad's getting shafted left, right and centre at this point. He's getting more crimes and charges put against him, more sort of pathetic attempts at bringing cases against him just so he can't get bail. He gets granted bail, Stephen, though. And he immediately gets arrested as he walks outside the court.
It wasn't a funny thing to happen, but it was such a funny scene, just the way it happened, because Ashwin and Harshad were coming down those steps making plans. You should take, I think, his wife, take her out, spend some time with her, and before he even gets to the bottom of the stairs, he's got the cuffs out for his next arrest. That's unbelievable. I don't know how much this guy can take, because
Steve, you understand why he died of a heart attack now, because the stress and the pressure on the guy must have been off the charts. They tried to break him in a sense, and that's exactly what they done. They broke the guy physically, if not mentally. He was mentally astute throughout the entire series and getting to where he got to and fighting off attempts to bring him down, but physically his body just fell apart in a sense. And you're right, he get immediately arrested, come down the stairs, but it doesn't last long, Stephen, because he's not in the jail for long. They can't hold him much longer. They don't have enough evidence to bring this guy down, and he gets let out again because there's no evidence of his sole involvement in this case. And of course, at this point, he's doing sort of meetings with the Delhi officials. Some guy comes to speak to him, trying to, in a sense, get exonerated protection from the Prime Minister, the government. If he doesn't name the PM, essentially, he's trying to get assurances from Delhi at this point. What did you make about this? Did you think this was ever something that would happen? Or did you trust that Delhi official? Because I have to say, I didn't.
No, I didn't. But
I was completely convinced that the CBI and all the sort of investigative authorities would continue to keep coming after him, and that's precisely what they've done.
Well, John, I thought at some point there would have to be some kind of deal breaker anyway, because I did read into the sort of end game of Harshad's investigation. It was still ongoing after his death, but up to that point, the amount of cases that were dropped and stuff like that, I thought there had to be some kind of deal in there, and it would have to it'd have to be addressed for the audience to understand it as well. So I wasn't too surprised about, obviously, Harshad getting the assurances from Delhi. Citibank thing as well, and all their dodgy dealings. And you said that in your notes here, John, leading to Sucheta and her friend delving into the full files. I loved that scene.
Yeah.
You always get a scene like that when it's there's an investigation going on where they go through all these files and all that. I used to work in that sort of department for lawyers, and the amount of files and having to get through all them, it's quite a taxing exercise. Piecing it all together.
Job.
I think as well, for Sucheta, I can't remember our friend's name. It's a boyfriend, by the way. But they're getting in fresh. They don't really know where to start, and they're getting through this cabinet of files.
It's a very small cabinet, isn't it? Incidentally, for all of these files, really small. And
them having to piece it all together was very impressive. It was. But it was a good way of obviously Citibank's involvement as well being exposed, which was great because obviously Ajay and Tiaji, what would happen next? I'll let you in anyway, John, because I'm kind of jumping the gun here.
Stephen, this was my favourite moment in the whole episode.
Amazing, yeah.
Because Harshad gets assurances from the Delhi official, we'll protect you if you don't name the PM. He has to go to some committee meeting in Delhi, and he completely outs Citibank, the foreign banks, how they have a licence to do whatever they want. They're above the law because of the authority, their position, the way they've invested in the country. They've got carte blanche to do whatever they want. He outs Ajay, Tiaji, all of these other people. It's not just me. They want to turn it into the Harshad Mehta story. It's a sort of scam on the system itself. The system's flawed. Everyone's doing it. And of course the shit starts hitting the fan. They fought in the previous episode. They were clinking champagne glasses. We are free. Harshad's away. And they absolutely go after Ajay and Tiaji. They start, you're right, Sucheta, and a friend whose name I've never discovered his name,
if I can find it.
And I still don't know his name, but they delve into the system and start unearthing all of these irregularities in their banking dealings, their BRs, and what was the other one? There's another one I can... SBI?
I think that's SBI, yeah.
No, SBI is the actual bank. I can't recall.
I can't.
It's like basically the receipts of transactions. They start delving in, they see some irregularities. Tiaji goes to this committee, thinks he's sort of Jesus on water level, and he gets absolutely wrecked. Then he has his meeting with this hedging from Citibank. He gets sent off to New York, and he screws over AJ, and I love that.
Yeah,
that meeting. What, you're going to New York?
That was amazing.
During all this?
Yeah.
I've been in jail. The CBI are coming after me. He's like, well, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. They'll not come after us. I'm going to New York. See you later, you little goon. I loved it, man. I loved the fact that these guys were being embroiled in it. They were just smug. They thought they'd won over Harshad, and he just brought all their little empire down, crumbling round about them. I thought that was amazing, man. And then obviously he leaves his brother to face the music. Harshad gets raided again on the request of Delhi. They're trying to come after him.
Yeah.
It's all going down at this point in the episode, Stephen. Delhi want to keep him on his toes, in a sense. They're worried that this guy he'll get relaxed and he'll start mouthing off and giving out names and bringing the Prime Minister back into it, and that's exactly what he does at the end of the episode, incidentally. What did you make about that scene, Tiaji, AJ, the Citibank thing, them being investigated, the whole thing starting to collapse around about them, him being raided again to keep himself on his toes? It was the worst thing they could do, Stephen. Yeah. They were trying to make this guy scared, spook him into staying in check, if you like, and under their hands, their ruling hands, and it turns out that was the last thing they could do, because that intro in the start of the episode is actually a sort of a flash forward, if you like. Yeah. That's him. He then records a video. He sets up little plans to try and save.
Yeah, the whole raid and the sort of interrogation tactics and the intimidation tactics, I should say, are all coming from that the instruction of that guru. I don't know that guy's name. I can't remember what it is.
It begins with an S.
Yeah,
I'm going to search it up just now. Yeah. I'll tell you.
In terms of Ajay and Tiaji, it was probably one of the more light-hearted moments. Although it was a serious thing that was going on. Kedia, that's his second name.
Ajay Kedia, yeah.
Ajay Kedia. It was absolutely just gobsmacked, wasn't it?
I couldn't believe it.
Basically, I thought you were my friend. He didn't say that.
Was that not his brother or something? I'm sure they were brothers or related. I may be wrong. I may be wrong, man. I may be wrong.
Yeah, but it was just, it would be the last time you saw these two goons together. I always liked seeing them together. It was always, I don't know, there's something funny about it and sneaky and pathetic about these two guys. The fact that Tiaji he's Offski, he's going to be okay. Citibank see his sort of potential to stay within the company, but obviously not in India. And his talents and what he's brought to the table He's brought a lot of money into the company. Whereas Ajay, he's disposable. You know, he's such a arrogant guy in that first meeting that we see him in. I think it was episode 2 that we see him in. Could have been episode 1. I can't remember.
Harshad tries to give him his business card.
He's so stuck up.
I think it may be later on, Stephen, because it's when Harshad's entering the money market, so it's quite late on.
It might be episode 3 or 4 then, John.
Can't get this guy's name.
It was really just getting his desserts, really. Both of them, really, because he has to leave India. You know, I know he's going to New York. Some might say it's a better life, but perhaps he doesn't want to do that, but he has to do it.
Well, he seemed quite happy.
I think it was just relief more than anything.
He was
John,
clinking the
Ajay,
wine glasses.
on the other hand, he's just shocked. You know, he's stunned. He doesn't know what to do.
Swami?
You know, but
is it Swami? He keeps saying Harry Om. I think that may be a sort of, I don't know what that means, man. I'm not going to even try and kid on that I'm not ignorant when it comes to Harry Om, but that's his sort of catchphrase. He says that to everyone, Harry Om. I think that's just a greeting, maybe a religious greeting or something like that. But I get the feeling it could be Swami. We have no photograph of this guy, so I can't say for certain. He was in a sizable amount of episodes. Yeah. And this Swami guy was in 5, and the name's not ringing the bell, so it could be Swami. But Stephen, at this moment he's getting raided, and as I keep saying...
Is that him? I think that's... No. Is that not him, no? Well, hold on a second. I don't know. I'll just bring that up.
It could be, yeah, it's him.
Yeah.
It is, because I recognise that one there, Stephen, the black and white photo.
That one?
That's him, for sure. That is defo him. So there you go, Swami. This is a sort of prime ministerial advisor. Yes, that's the guy's name. Oh, he was okay. It was a good performance. It was mostly little telephone conversations. It wasn't until...
It was the cigarette smoking man.
It was the cigarette smoking man, the sort of puppet master, so he thought. Yeah. But Harshad was really the puppet master. He was holding it all together. And it does, Stephen, when he gets raided, that just reignites in him that, look, I'm going to try and overcome this. I'm going to reign supreme. So he records the video as a sort of insurance policy, as we did say. I'm going to go down to my notes again because I'm toiling here to see just what I've read. I've actually wrote down about this.
It's a backup video,
It's a backup video. It strengthens his resolve. It spurs him on to hire a lawyer. And he says this great line, if they try to F with me, the whole country will F them over. Yeah. And I thought that was brilliant. That just shows you this guy thinks, even at this moment, that he still has the backing of most of India. Yeah. In a sense that they'd still deem him a sort of Robin Hood type figure, and he is.
He definitely is. His lawyer was no nonsense. I liked him.
Yeah, he was. He was good. Yeah. He almost looked like Rudy Giuliani in a sense, Trump's personal lawyer, but without the dodgy hair dye rolling down his face in sweaty situations. Yeah, he was good. He was good. His introduction was almost like your man Ray Liotta in Marriage Story. The way that he bust onto the scene, he's telling him, "Don't open your mouth in front of the CBI. They'll turn anything." Into evidence. You're lucky that they can't use that, they can't corroborate that for a case or something like that. And then of course the final scene, Stephen, with the lawyer was amazing, and the way that it interjected between that and shots of the actual Harshad, the actual lawyer at this press conference too, the journalist saying, in a sense, this isn't the Harshad Mehta story, it's whatever the Prime Minister's name's is story. He gave 1 crore payment, this guy's involved in this scam goes higher. I loved it. I loved the back and forth, and but it was kind of, in a sense, jarring as well, though, because Pratik Gandhi, as good as he is, and as close as he's got in terms of looks, he's not as chubby as this guy.
No, he's not, John. But I think it's just to sort of highlight that this moment in the story is true to fact. You know, this did happen. There is a recording of this. Let's just shove that in there. I didn't find it too jarring. Obviously, there's no lightness, you know, in the character Harshad, but I felt it was a powerful scene. I felt this is a great way to end the episode before we're going into the finale. It's a great build up, the exposure as well. I know we'll get into obviously the sort of flip side of that scene as well in episode 10, but I thought it was a good scene. It was a great build up. I thought the music as well in this episode was fantastic, and the score just added that tension, and it was a great way just to get us ready for episode 10. I liked it.
Stephen, I've loved the score throughout this. I think it's been really subtle in places. It's really helped build emotion and build the pressure and everything, and the little scenes, it's just added so much.
It's almost Chris Nolan, not Chris Nolan,
oh Christ, I'm blanking. Hans
Zimmer-esque type music.
There's little moments that just help and sort of inflect. Is that the right word? I don't think it is. Elevate, but there's another word I was thinking about. Inflect. Little emotional elements in it. It was really good. Stephen, final thoughts in the episode though. As I say, it's my favourite of the entire series. Just the fact that this guy's he's rose to the top, he's been brought down, just as they think that they've got this guy down, he's downtrodden, he's done.
Yeah.
He's in jail. He bounces back again. He has a sort of, what is it you call it again when someone's dying on their deathbed and they get a little jolt of energy, they bounce back up. There's a second wind.
Yeah, second
They sort of
wind,
get a second wind, and then obviously, inevitably, they actually bounce back down again. Sadly, I've seen that close hand, and it is a thing, crazily. And obviously, he bounces back up briefly. We know in the final episode what actually happens, although it takes place over a number of years, and that's one gripe I have got. This thing was all... It spanned, I think, 10 years initially, the first 2-3 episodes. Then it was all jammed into 1992, 93. Then it just explodes another 10 years.
10
in
years
the final episode.
Yeah,
that was slightly annoying.
We'll talk about that, John. But my thoughts, very similar to yourself, John. It was probably my favourite episode for tension.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I had this sneaky suspicion, and it was kind of confirmed once I saw episode 10 as well, was I think it's going to be a farewell to all these side characters. The Agis, the Tiagis, your man, Venkitaraman.
He wasn't seen again?
No, he wasn't seen again, John. Who was the little fat guy that had the 3 goons as well? What was his name?
Manu. He's not been seen since the second episode.
Fizzled out, didn't he? Just
that was another annoyance, another gripe for me in this whole series.
Yeah.
Those 3 little dwarf guys, those little strange creatures.
Not seen again.
Little fat guy. I actually seen the name of the guy that looked like Joe Pesci on IMDb there briefly. It was sort of, I don't know,
but
meddling and making plans for the future. Then we never really get to see it play out, and that was slightly disappointing. It is the Harshad Mehta story, though.
And that kind of indicated to me, I think, the last episode they have to concentrate solely on Harshad, perhaps Sucheta as well, and obviously Ashwin as well. He's a character we've not really talked about, John the brother. I know we kind of talk about him.
He's a really cool guy.
He's the worrier in the family, but
the fact he becomes a lawyer.
Yeah, we'll talk about that as well. But he's such a loyal brother as well. He sticks by Harshad through thick and thin, and you've got to admire him for that. He could have just walked away at any point and washed his hands of the situation, but he didn't. He stuck by his brother. And
that's admirable, Stephen. He does. He sticks by him to the very, very end. Of course, he's one of the first people to go and greet him in the moment after he passes away. But Stephen, that's going to round up your review of episode 9. What is the name of the episode again?
It is, I'll bring it up once more, it is called
Ishq Crore Suitcase. So that's going to round up the review of that. It was my favourite of the entire season to date. What was your thoughts on it though? Is it something that you enjoyed? Was it your favourite episode? How would you rank episodes, incidentally, if you're watching this? And maybe you can give us your favourite down below. What was your thoughts on the evolution of the story, the characters, where Harshad went, where Sucheta went, where Madhaven went? Bushan Bat, did he deserve to have that towel full of pish flung in his face?
In episode 10 I will answer that, John.
Episode 10, we will answer that for sure. Yes, he did. I'll answer it just now. You can comment below and let us know what your thoughts are down below in the comments section. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it and subscribe to the channel. If you want to see more content like this in the future, and if you do, that's what you'll get. But look, guys, we'll be back in about 10 minutes. 5 minutes maybe, depending on how expedient we are to do a review of episode 10, the finale. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye.